So, what's going on? I just see that in your background there's a guitar.
Yeah, yeah. My partner.
Yeah. So all of the person who are already added here, they are now on our learning partner on our running batch. It's project management with a Primavera P6 and MS project. I mean, so. Uh, I think we can start our formal session after 5 or 10 minutes later because in our announcement it was 9. So I think probably a few person can join more after 9 or within 9. So I think it's formally we can discuss after 9. Any problem?
Okay on my end.
Okay. And before we start our formal session, if it will be from our side, it's a warm welcome to our session. And can you just briefly, can you tell our participant that about you in short? How you come to the planning engineering occupation. Is it your choose? Okay, I want to go. I want to be a planning engineer, or somehow it's happened that there is a scope of work and your boss said, okay, you have to do because in Bangladesh, lots of scenarios like this because in Chinese company, if you have very good in one section, then you have to work on 2 or 3 more duties beyond your scope of work. So somehow there's, I know a few planning engineer who are not started as a planning engineer, but now they become the planning engineer. It's not willing to be a planning engineer, but nature, somehow they become planning engineer. So your track is like this, or
Actually, on my experience, I've known a lot also of people that have a different kind of work, and then being introduced to planning is not their really it's not their first choice. So what usually what happens is a person from the field or a person from the QS are being directly in contact with a planner or a planning engineer, and then they will know what are the kind of jobs, what are the duties and responsibilities of the planner is, and then it's like magic, and then they will. I think I want to become a planner. I think I want to become a planner. I want to do that kind of job because it's being a planner, especially on my home country, Philippines, is like being a project manager, but without the decision making. Because as you know, being a planner, our scope of work is majority uh, all about project management. But only the project manager can decide whether we are to do this or we are to do that. So our main role is really putting ourselves into the shoes of a project manager and analyze the schedule, analyze the budget, analyze all documents, and then come up with some strategies, opinions, or even plans, another
yes,
plan
yes,
to execute or to uh, give solutions to the current problems that the project is facing. So it's like that. Me, especially, uh, I started as a planning engineer way back 2014. It's a little bit later than the glory days of planning in the Philippines because uh, uh, planning itself have been established in the Philippines way back to 2010. Uh, the country who brought us the planning is actually Americans.
Okay.
Uh, when the American embassy is being constructed in the Philippines, uh, one of the condition of the Philippine government with the Americans is uh, we are to hire a local contractor.
Okay.
So they didn't allow the Americans to bring their own contractor. So what they did is uh, they established all the manpower. For example, they a project manager. We need two project managers like that. So we need this set of QS, number of QS, and then they introduced that we need two sets of planners. So basically, the company that hired me, but I'm not involved in that project. It's just a history. So it's a history. So they said that for a construction company to be fully established, we need a planner. But that time, nobody from the contractor side knows what a planner is. Yeah.
Okay.
So then they started researching, hiring for people, and uh, the first planner that was hired actually is a foreigner also, no, and he is a British. He
Oh,
came from UK. So then from him, he became immediately the planning manager, and then he is the one who trained those Filipinos, those pioneers in planning, uh, to become planners. So after that project, it was completed early 2013. Like I said, it's a little bit like when I entered the company, it's already 1 year after the establishment of planning. So after that project, they continued training planners in order to fulfill all those duties because they like how the project finished.
okay.
The project uh, even though it was delivered, I think a month or two uh, months delayed compared to the baseline program, but it was due to design issue. So it's not really the project's uh, fault to being delayed. So after that, they continued, and from there, it's history. So uh, many planners have gone back to the Philippines because the Philippines construction industry have boomed.
Yes.
So it had been developed, and many of the planners, Filipino planners that are actually outside the Philippines went back because there are new opportunities for them, unlike the old times. So that's basically the history why I became. And when I entered the company, there are only I think 8 planners on the whole company handling almost 200 projects. So it was centralized,
Okay.
no. And by then they are training more and more. So when I left the company, the planners are about more than 400 handling 600 almost 600 projects. So that's how fast the industry became known,
Okay.
especially planning.
Okay. But you tell that lots of planning engineer who are, I mean the Filipino planning engineer who are working outside of Philippines, they then come
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
Philippines. Then one thing I just want to know that when they come back, then as an international expert, when you work outside of the country, and in as a national expert, when you work on in your country, then the salary ratio is different. In Bangladesh, it's different. So in Philippines, same.
Actually, it depends upon the area. When we are talking about Middle East area,
Yes.
uh, the Filipinos planning engineers
Okay.
working in Middle East, if they gone back to the Philippines, I think the salary level will just almost be the same since back then there are only few companies who are hiring planners, and if ever they are hiring planners, they are hiring one, two, or three only. because the whole company will be directed by that planner. So unlike now, especially now, since there are already a lot of planners, the salary difference is a little bit different. A little bit,
Reduce.
yes, yes. Because now, planners are being hired one project per person.
Oh,
Unlike the old days that one planner is handling one, two, three, four, five, or more projects at once.
okay.
But the thing is, it became a good training ground because, when supply is higher,
Yes.
so you tend to compete.
Yes.
Right? So, in order for you to compete, you need to improve. You need to improve your skills. You need to train. You need to learn more. So that's one criteria. Actually, competition is not that bad if you are going to look at it positive. If you are going to compete, for example, me, if I'm going to compete with other person, uh, just by dragging him down, that is a negative. But if I'm going to compete with another person by improving myself, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Right? So basically, that's what happened. The quality of the engineers or the planning engineers that are being produced became higher and higher. So they've become their skills become more stable, and uh, after 1, 2, or 2 years, uh, they are going after bigger projects, bigger stage. No, they are going outside the Philippines also in order to learn more and also earn more. That's the basic.
Okay, but in your answer, I just one thing I just now clear. Whenever any of my friends come to me and tell me that, brother, I want to be a planning engineer. Basically, uh, I then try to measure his knowledge, measure his financial condition, because in my sense, planning engineering profession is a risky profession also. It's a vulnerable profession also, because suppose if you are a site engineer, then in our project almost more than 100 200 engineer,
Yes, yes,
but planning engineer 3 or 4. So if anyone um, if anyone want to quit this project, there is a lots of opportunity in outside.
yes,
But as
yes,
a
yes,
planning engineer, you cannot easily switch. But in according to your answer, there is a rising of a planning engineer. So it's a good. It's also a good, and it's sometimes it's a. Mm, I mean, it's a complex thinking that if there's a lots of planning engineer, the salary ratio will be might be down,
um
because there is a lots of planning engineer available
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in some.
But actually, that scenario would only happen after establishing the planning. So if, for example, like here in Bangladesh, it's not that known. Planning is not that known. So if you, for example, you like this, like these trainings, if you are able to produce more planning engineers with higher quality, or even higher quality than we have now, then of course, these people will also will also train another person and another person, another person, and when that happens, you as the pioneer are the one who will be able to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah. So as early as now, I think, since you are starting the industry, you are starting training people. I think the more reason to be engaged as early as now, because in just my experience, there are a lot of things that I have known later than I should have had, and I was thinking to myself, if I've known that a
Okay.
little bit earlier, I think my career or my career growth have been even more uh, stable than what I have now. Although I'm content that with what I'm doing right now, because uh, 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 I think I'm competent enough to be able to go to any projects and being able to deliver what I have to deliver. But uh, these young people are the actually the next generations are the more precious, because if ever that there are no people like you who are willing to train or willing to encourage other young ones, then the industry will fall. No, what will happen is all of these people that are already known in this industry will go outside the country just to find more jobs, because they will not find jobs in their home
Yes, yes,
country, like what we have experienced in the past.
yes. Yes, I am also optimistic because in our last career talk, there is a planning engineer. I already sent a photo to you. Mr. Kamrul is working as a planning engineer in UAE. He also said me that brother, don't worry about the industry because 20 years or 30 years earlier, 20 or 30 years earlier, if a man want to do a five-star building, he never asked any civil engineer. Only the expert. He just takes some opinion from the expert guy for the foreman or the someone who already done the building. But nowadays, if you want to only establish a two-star building, then you also discuss with the civil engineer. So in this way, day by day, our knowledge should be a framework. So planning engineering profession will be raised day by day. But it's also raise a question that if you are a planning engineer, then what will be the career path? Because now first
Mm.
after graduation, suppose you're 2 or 3 years you are a site engineer, then you become a as assistant planning engineer, then you are a planning engineer, then after that, after what do you think that after 20 years or 30 years you want Mr. Andrew will be the in which position?
That's a nice question, because typically when people are being we are introducing planning way back in the Philippines, their immediate conception is planning is all about scheduling.
Yes, yes, it is the
But no, there's no actually. Because in the Philippines now, especially when it's already established, and almost all of the companies are embracing having a planner, because it's really a must. Why? Because uh, the main criteria on being a planner is being able to analyze everything, basically everything. Just like what I said earlier, you have to think like a project manager,
yes,
and and the main role of a project manager is being able to uh, put a lot of things into place. One is I'll give you an example: time management, schedule management, cost management, procurement management, human resource management, and all those things. And 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 honestly, as a planner, you have to deal with all those things,
yes,
right? You need during pre-construction period, you have to establish the baseline program, which tells everyone what to do in the future, right?
yes,
So you have to establish the project management plan, which tells everyone what should look like having to do this project, right? So,
yes,
that is just a pre-con. But during construction, from planning, we will transition into control, the control part that we are calling in the Philippines. That is the main crucial part, because now that you have established the baseline program, you established the project management plan, all you have to do now is implement and then check. As a planner, we have to check everything. We will look at the schedule. At the current scenario, we are delayed. So we are to analyze what is the reason. Is it safety? Is it quality? Is it procurement? Are we on manpower? Are we short on materials? Are the materials being delivered on time? So those are the things that we need to check, and we need to directly contact the project manager. We need to tell the project manager, the reason for this delay is this. So immediately, the project manager can think of all the possible solutions on how to deal with the current problem that we are facing. It's like uh, finding a needle in a whole crowd.
Yes.
It's really that important. And also, one big role of a planner is being able to translate all the information into a quality report.
Yes.
A report that will be reported to the client, the consultant, to the project manager himself. So it's a big role to be played, and I think that is one good reason. That is one enough reason uh, for a company or for an industry to be convinced that planners are really important. And that's what happened in the Philippines. That's why. So now, everything, uh, actually in the Philippines, planners are being called as universal file server, because we have all the information comes through us to the project manager. We are responsible in creating one universal report. The safety manager will give his data, the QA manager will give his data, the procurement team will give us their data, the QS, the cost engineers, as well as the construction team themselves. So it's a lot of work to deal with, but as a planner, it's really a must to be able to translate all those information into a report that will be understandable to anyone that could see it in an instant. So that's, I think, the best thing about having planners. Because if, for example, safety manager will give us a report, and it will be sent directly to the project manager. And that some of the safety people are not that what we call this uh, being what do you call this
Supportive.
uh, again.
I just want to say that everyone is not supportive. Everyone is not facilitated you. There is some. Yeah, I face some problem
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that
And as
some ego problem is sometimes it's a
yeah. One good thing. But what I want to say is that a safety manager will not care if this report is understandable or not, as long as he gives you the report like that. So sometimes planners are there to be able to translate that information, that whole lot of information, into something that is understandable or informative for everyone. So
yes.
that's
I
one.
also face this thing that when I am working in a terminal, airport terminal, in that time, in this phase, I just a new window open for me that for reporting. In earlier project, I also do as a planning engineer, but in that time, the company owner directly involved on the weekly meeting. So I have the challenge to make the report, this technical information formatted as a non-tech language.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Actually,
yes,
I remember one project manager that I have worked with. I think it's just a small project, but that guy is really good. So this is what he told me. Uh, if a person doesn't want to be part of the solution, then at least you must be at least be willing to be to be not part of the problem. No. So what that impacted me is this. uh, uh, it's okay to what do you call this? To treat people as stupid, not the negative stupid.
Yes, negative.
Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah, because
everyone is
sometimes
not as engineer.
yeah. Because sometimes information are too complex for some people. So if you are going to create a report, it should be at least
Readable,
understandable
understandable.
for
Yes,
everyone, for every level of technicality. Because
yes,
in a single meeting room, in a single conference room, you don't know which one is technical and which one is not, unless you are working with them together or at close proximity.
yes,
So that's why every time that we are creating a report, it's as simple as possible,
yes,
but as informative as it should be. So
yes,
that's why. So your point there is really good because it happens most of the time. Uh, we uh, uh, we are we tend sometimes we tend to create reports that look good on our eyes,
yes,
but is complicated by other people. So
yes,
that point is really good.
yes.
That's one good thing.
So it's definitely a challenge to make a report which is easily readable, which is easily understandable. Because maximum time, our external stakeholder, they are not the technical person. They just ordered. You have to do this on this way. You have to complete this project within this time. So
Yeah,
it is tough. It is tough to somehow to manage them. But you just raise a good point that a report is a report writing is a definite skill that one planning engineer need to know.
yeah,
Except this, uh, according to you, if we have uh, want to focus, or you just come back 5 years earlier, that in that time, if you want to know something about planning engineering, you have to you just think that okay, I just enrich myself with these three skill or four skill. Then which skill you just topmost priority? One is
that is a
reporting.
good question.
Okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
One is reporting. Except this.
Yeah. That's one good question because, as I also mentioned earlier, I have a lot of things that I have learned late than I should have. So, what happened is, it's actually, I should say, if I have known these things, or if I have acquired these
Yes.
skills much earlier, I should have been better by
Yes.
now. So I'll share you one. Uh, a few, actually a few. One is uh, learn the fundamentals of project management first before engaging into softwares. Software is important, really important. But if you are to study software immediately without learning the fundamentals of project management, uh, it will be a little bit difficult to apply into reality, into projects. I'll give you an example that I've encountered. Actually, that's a mistake made by myself because way back 2014, when I started working with the company which I have trained as a planning engineer, since I knew immediately that I will be a planner, and they told me that they will teach me how to use Primavera and all those things. I immediately enrolled. So I want to have a big step forward. I want to take the advantage against my competitors. So that's what I did. I immediately enrolled. I learned Primavera earlier than all the others. But uh, the thing is, they learned the fundamentals of project management first than me because I focused immediately on the software. And what happened is, without Primavera, they are being able to produce quality schedules.
Okay.
Are being able to produce quality reports, quality everything. And me, I was left with Primavera, which I can only use to create a schedule. I cannot create a report from that. I cannot create any other things except for the schedule itself. So that's one big uh, uh,
Good point
mistake
is
on my part.
anyone before come to a planning engineer, they should know the fundamental of the literature or the every 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 section has his own language.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So okay, one point we just got it. Except this, any other thing?
Another thing, invest on your skills. You
Okay.
know, uh, I totally respect the fact that we are really learning on the job.
Hmm.
That's one big part of learning. But if we are to rely on those only, on experience only that we are being established during our working time, it will be a little, you know, how may I say? Because the people we are working with are not really intending to teach us because their idea is when you get hired you already know what to do you're already an expert in this because
Yes.
you applied for this. That's their main idea.
Yes. Yes.
So I think one big point is invest in skills, attend trainings, attend seminars like this, training sessions that will really boost uh, your skills because these kinds of conferences, its aim, its major aim is really to train you to improve your skills, and I think that's one good point. Uh, Experience is a good thing, but it is not enough if you want to really want to strive and make big steps in your career.
Okay. And so just one is reporting definitely, then the investment on your own skill, then the fundamental language, and except this, except this, suppose in my experience, I just see that lots of uh, make some contact manager who are becoming fast in fast life. They are the QS, they know some FEDIC or some contact law, then now they become the contact special resource
Uh,
contact manager. But
yeah.
it is a background of from QS. So as a planning engineer, definitely we have the dream to become a project control engineer. So but its project control engineer role is too big. There is a cost management, there is a resource management. So
Yeah.
um, according to these knowledge, somehow they gather this knowledge or information. Okay, seminar or these things of things I appreciate. But what do you think about the PMP or Prince 2? Is this mandatory or this is good but not mandatory? What do you think?
Actually, to be
And
honest,
just one thing, I just interrupt. One thing I just added with this question that what about the Philippine condition on PMP Institute or the Prince to are there people are now, especially the civil engineer in Bangladesh IT sector, there is a lots of PMP where is several years earlier, but nowadays some civil engineer also achieve the benchmark of PMP. So, what about the scenario of Philippines? Because when I talk with my boss, one boss is from China, but he graduate from Nevada, USA. When I just tell that I take preparation for PMP, he said, I don't know anything about this because you or Indian people or Arab people in Gulf countries, there are lots of talking about the PMP, Prince 2, but when I living in USA, they, I don't see any kinds of craze about the PMP. If you have the experience, okay, that's all sufficient.
yeah, yeah. Actually, that's one big talk also in the Philippines because in the Philippines, PMP holders are not actually planners.
Okay.
Majority of them are field engineers, or if not, the private contractors.
Sorry, sorry,
Because
sorry. One thing
it's
I just missed. PMP
private
holders, sir.
contractors.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's actually a good credential to put into your company as well as to your CV or your resume, what we call it. But majority of the people that are having the PMP in the Philippines are like that, field engineers. But I think this is just my opinion. Uh, PMP is actually broader than what we think it is, because project management institute is not just on construction. They
Yes.
focus on everything. They also focus on web development. They focus on system management. They also give focus on production, oil and gas, everything that you can imagine. As long as it is a project, they give them the credentials. So, but PMP is not bad, actually. It's a good source of, just like I said earlier, it's a good source of knowledge, especially for planners, because project management process is being taught intimately. It's being taught critically. What I mean is, they are picking all the good topics one by one and putting it into one course. And then you'll be trained, and once you get the certificate after passing the exam, they actually produce good project managers as well as planners. And all the planners that I know that have PMP on their name are actually good, multiple times better than me, I think. So
Good in
yeah.
knowledge or good in earning?
Earning comes after the knowledge. But really, they
Yes.
are good. They are good engineers. Yeah. They produce a lot of good planners,
So,
especially if
according
you
to
are
you,
going to.
if you have the PAP certification, it's also help you to earning more.
Mm, yeah, I think, yeah.
But you already, I know you already meet Mr. Ramesh, our
Yes, yes.
Mr. Mamun. Mr. Mamun, one day he just asked that you are not. You are certified PMP. Mr. Ramesh said, no, I didn't feel I that need this certification because I have my own band. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'll be a hypocrite if I'll tell you that I don't need that because I'm already good. Because people who thinks they are already good are preventing themselves from growing.
Oh, yes, yes.
There's always a room for improvement, and maybe someday I'm not closing myself into the possibility of taking that exam because it's good credentials. Honestly, I currently don't have PMP, and what I have now really are just certificates of trainings and other
If you think
and
that you
experience.
want to achieve this within this year, then I am also with you because next month I will pay for it.
Maybe you can go first because I don't think I'm ready.
But I just first do the 36 hours program on 2019.
That's
But
good.
till that day,
35
I
points.
just every day or every month I just think, okay, this month passed. Okay, in next month I will start studying.
Yeah.
But end of the day, after a job, study is you need some passion, or that's why I cannot start it. So I
Uh,
hope, but I hope within this year I can
yeah.
manage.
Yeah. Learning is always good.
Another thing I
It's
just
not.
want
It's
to,
always not.
yes.
It's not late to learn. No? Even though you think you are already a master of your craft, you can still master what do you call this? You can still perfect it more. No? So you can still add more to what you have currently, and that's good.
So, according to you, if I finalize the summarize, according to you, for knowledge gain, PMP is good, and also for career path. or also as a earning. Definitely, it's good. So
Yeah,
if
especially
anybody,
earning.
so if anybody have the opportunity in our session, there is a lots of our learning partners, our colleagues. So if you have the sufficient time or you have the just started your career as a planning engineer, it is good that it's a high time to take preparation and take this PMP, because in civil engineering background in Bangladesh, there is only few engineer who are the PMP holder. So it's a good
Yeah.
time. So just last two or three question. One thing is, in according to Bangladesh, you already living in Bangladesh, you know the overall condition, uh, and I already discussed with you the project which is running by the Chinese contractor. Main con is Chinese. Basically, they did not want to hire planning engineer with a handsome salary. So suppose in my project, when I work with the French people, when I work with the Korean, they are hiring people or with lots of salary, because they give the importance of planning. So what do you think that if they want to come now they want to make a decision to be a planning engineer, it will be a very good time to jump on the planning section, or if they are working on a site, because if on a site, then today or tomorrow they can become a DPM, they can become a PM, whatever the project size, small or big. But for a planning engineer, one of the major challenge I just feel that if a small size of project or medium size of project, or it's a typical project, then there is a not lots of necessity of a planning engineer. If it suppose a typical project that two-story building, total 30 building, if you make a one schedule, okay, then just revise it, monitoring. Not a, actively need any kinds of planning engineer. So what do you think in Bangladesh, the overall condition is now a high time, or they should take their whatever the career they are ongoing, they just took on that.
As I see it now in Bangladesh, actually, it's a lot like the Philippines in planning. It's a lot like the Philippines condition way back before the American embassy is being built. They don't really know what planning is. So what happens on my previous company, the company that I have shared you earlier, the story where I uh, uh, anong planning, this company is only weighing way back before the American embassy, only weighs 600 billion peso of revenue a year. But when I left them after establishing the planning
Department.
department, uh, they are now weighing around 230 billion peso a year. Why? Because they saved a lot of money in the on delays. Because when the planning department have been established, they immediately they have someone to tell them what is the big reason of this delay. Because as you know, especially in our industry in construction, when all all people are sorry,
It's okay.
my camera disconnected. Okay.
Okay.
So in our industry where all people are almost professional, uh, sometimes you will encounter people that are think they are better than the other,
Oh,
and this uh, sometimes happen between two separate entities, which is the consultant and the contractor.
yes.
This sometimes happen. No, I'm the consultant. I'm better than you. Just listen to me. So what happens is that the contractor always loses because the consultant is the one to approve, right?
Yes,
So, for
yes,
example, we are delayed by 7 months. So surely will be deducted a lot of money through liquidated damage.
yes,
And when the planning the department have been established in the Philippines, this is what happened. Uh, they the contractor knew the process of documenting all those delays during the process of having it. Uh, we have a delay on this design. You didn't approve immediately, and we are in effect we are delayed by 30 days. They documented it. They know the impact, how much money, and after or before completion of those specific projects, they are able to claim.
oh,
Why? Because they already know the process of planning, which is very important when it comes to construction. Because construction uh, is really driven by contract, and contract is driven by time and money, nothing else.
yes,
And if you are going to balance money and time, what would you achieve? And who is the person that will come to your mind? The planner.
yes,
So, having the planner to establish these documentations, these scenarios, having to be able to pinpoint what are the reasons and how much money it has been impacted on the company. We are able to establish a process which tells us what to do in times of these delays happen. So what happened is uh, almost 70 to 80% of additional time and additional cost claims are being approved because we are always ready to, what do you call this, to face the consultant because we have the documents,
yes,
we have the proof, we have the everything that needs to be shown to the client in order to approve our claims. So that's one big step in the planning industry way back in the Philippines because it actually pays. The company actually earned a lot just by having this single department. And after that, more of the other departments are established, like process improvement, cost control,
oh,
and all other things follow. They embrace change. We embrace the change, and we learn from it. That's why. So now, it's a win-win situation because during project, before the establishment of planning, uh, almost all of the projects are being delayed. And after establishing planning, few and few projects are being delayed. So it's also a win for the consultant. It's also a win for the client because they are receiving the product on time or even sometimes earlier than the scheduled time. So no negative impact for the contractor and good impact for the client. And that I think that is one important part of being in the business, not being able, what do you call this, we should always be bringing in profit for the company because otherwise the company would fail and we will lose our job and everything else will will break, everything else will fall. So uh, I think I talk a lot about that, but the
no,
idea is that this planning actually saved the construction industry in the Philippines right now, and those that have followed the footsteps of that company is also now hiring planners from that company with higher salary. So they are basically what do you call this? They are pirating all the trained planners from that company into their company in order to improve their company also. So that's one good thing because competency is one thing, but the concept, the process, all of those can be learned. Even if you are not the best of the best, as long as you know the process, you can establish your own. You can
Yes.
establish, you can pass it through the next generations. That you are being able to train. So I think that's one good step.
Okay,
And
Mr. Andrew, in our session, one of our mentor, one of our big brother, Mr. Hassan, is already joined. Uh, হাসান ভাই শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? হাসান ভাই, আপনি কি আছেন এখানে? হাসান ভাই, যদি কথা বলার মতো সিচুয়েশন থাকে একটু তাহলে ইয়ে করেন আমাদেরকে, একটু আনমিউট করে আমাদের জন্য একটু মানে কি বলবো, একটা গাইডলাইন দিয়ে আর কি। Sorry, Mr. Andrew, most probably he is not in the situation of to talk with us. Sorry, I just apologize that I take lots of time from you,
no,
and
no
I know
problem, no
you are
problem.
too busy now because
No, no. Actually,
you have a
evening is
flight. You have a flight on June 3 or 4
tomorrow, June 3.
tomorrow.
Uh, no, 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 no. June 3, June 3, June 3.
June 3. Okay, okay.
The next week.
So you have lots of stuff to do, and
No problem.
I hope tomorrow we will meet and with some official discussion. And thank you so much again that you give a basically from you. I just learned that I just explored the overall condition of Philippine, that how the Philippine planning industry is. I mean the history of the Philippine planning industry. So it's a very enrich our experience. It's enrich our thoughts, and it will definitely help our mentors, not only that who are attend on this session. This session will be updated, I mean sorry, this session will be uploaded on YouTube, and with most probably tomorrow we will publish this session, and whoever need, if the participant or the learners think it will be helpful for them, then I think I request them to share with your friends, because mm, uh, one book I just now read on my desk, it is not here, that in there's a very English book, that book name is Never Eat Alone. If you think that you want to be a rich, you want to be a billionaire, then try to make your surrounding people millionaire. If they become millionaire, then you will be the billionaire. So if you want to be a single person, you cannot never achieve this. And if somehow if you achieve it, there is no happiness, because it's only your choice. So if you think this session is helpful to you, then I requested you to share with on your Facebook on or the LinkedIn. And again, thanks, Mr. Andrew, to give us a very very good, informative and motivational session, and it will be definitely a guide in future our learning partners. Thank you. Any last
Thank you
word,
very much.
Mr. Andrew?
No, thank you very much. I just want to thank you all, and especially you, Mr. Hasib, because it's really a pleasure to be able to share my a little experience to everyone. Because when I remember that I used to be a
Yes,
nobody.
yes, yes.
I used
And
to be nobody, but
definitely it's a inner peace. If you do something with others, it's not count or measure by the money or by the any other thing else. It's a self happiness.
Yes.
according to
Thank
you.
you very much. It's always a pleasure
Yes,
being able to share.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Mr.
Because
Yes, yes,
yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah. Because if the other people also in my career, if they didn't share their experiences with me, I won't be able to share it with you now. So that's a good thing. Keep sharing. Yeah.
And
Yeah, hi. Hi, assalamu alaikum. Hi.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Mr. Andu, can you allow us 4 or 5 minutes also? 4 or 5 minutes more?
Okay, okay,
Because
no problem.
one of our senior planning engineer, Mr. Hassan Masood, he's now living in UAE. He is joined just this time. So, Mr. Hassan brother, I have just a single and very short question to you. Mr. Andrew, in his last point, he just tell that nowadays the Filipino contractor and the employer they feel the necessity of a planning engineer because the planning engineer gives the lots of data to the contact manager about the claim issue. So what do you think the planning engineering role the general concept is all planning engineers are scheduler, but according to you, how many or whatever the percentage you see that planning engineer also do a big role with a claim assessment with a on helping of a contact manager or claim analysis or deal analysis, according to you the overall now condition of a planning engineer?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Andrew, to give me a chance. Actually, see, in a planning engineer, in a company, in a project, there's two things. One is scheduler, one is planning engineer.
Yes.
So scheduler is the basic, very basic things, and the planning engineer is the core. I thought it's a core. In a project, there is some positions. Like you have a planning engineer, you have a QS, QC. So this is the core of the project. And for the planning, it will start from the contract. When the contract is, they submit the contract. So planning is that time. Contract management, when they ask at the beginning and the end also, like when there is some issues coming, when there is some conflict coming. So that time, planning engineer is very big role to help the contract manager. Okay, and the main things what you said, scheduler they can also help, but the scheduler is the main rules is scheduler to give him the data. But the planning engineer, he's like a strategic. He will submit his strategy for the project, and whatever the project vital now it needs, whatever the project is upcoming situation, it will be handled. Whatever the cost cutting. Sometimes planning engineer also helps the contract manager. Sometimes planning engineer also helps the QS to make cost cutting, to make there's some issues coming, some conflict coming, conflict management, resolution. So these are the very vital things for the planning engineer in
No,
a
no,
project.
and I agree with you. It's definitely a vital role. But my question is specific that if I calculate in a percentage, then according to you, all of the planning engineers are involvement. They have directly involvement of the contact, or the 50-50, or somehow it's involved, or maximum positive they are not involved. What is the reaction? What is the general practice in overall the
No, in contract management, if the contract manager he wants some data, he will take. There is two person. He will take from the data from two person. One is from QS, the overall overall the percentage of the money,
okay.
whatever the money, and the percentage he will take for the planning. So if I'll say it like this, from a contract manager, he will take 30% data from the planning engineer, 30% from the QS, and 30% from himself.
Okay.
40% from himself.
So there is involvement. There is a very good involvement of a planning engineer. So
Yeah, sure.
then
This is a team. This is a team. It's like a team.
okay. But definitely no one become a planning engineer overnight. So he started his career as a scheduler, then day by day just gather his experience and be a planning engineer. Then from scheduler to a planning engineer, these delay analysis or these kinds of skill, um, uh, according to you, you already crossed this road. So how you suggest our next generation or other fresher scheduler that how they gain this skill to be a planning engineer? Suppose Mr. Andrew said that one of the good source of knowledge is PMP. But except this, do you have any other things you want to add?
Main, I think, vital is the for the site. If you have site experience, and if you with any senior planning engineer, okay, if you are a scheduler, join in a company, and you have a planning manager or senior planning engineer, and you will connect with him every time. Okay, he will teach you first of all, and second is
According to you, it's a very good source of knowledge that you are
If
under anyone's subordinate.
If you have any planning manager or if you have any senior planning engineer, and you are just under with him, and you will be next project you will be a planning engineer. And second is site experience is very important, because from the site you will get all the schedule from the data, all the what is said, all the site knowledge. Okay, this is very important. And third is a certification, because certification it will teach you the management, how you get this management, how you get the construction management. So certification is also important. So I think these are the three things. Keep touch with any senior. Second is from the site, and third is from the certification.
As first of all is keep touch with your senior. Number second is
From the site experience.
Site experience. Okay. And number third, you said
Site,
that
the certification. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Andrew, finally, you want to add something?
Yeah, actually, those three things are really important. I totally agree. And may I also add, because on some companies, some seniors are not really that accommodating when it comes to juniors. You will sometimes encounter bosses, a literal boss. You know. So so I think I will just give emphasis on the, I think same as the certification that Mr. Hassan have mentioned, but I will direct it with trainings. I think you should again invest on trainings, because there are a lot of trainings and seminars out there that really gives you an edge when it comes to additional knowledge, and I think it pays, because as you said earlier, you cannot be a planner overnight, and the only way to improve is to learn more, to gather skills, gather more experiences inside and outside the office, and I think having more connections to other departments, like QS,
Yes.
it's not like you are going to take over his job or her job.
You just
At least,
want to say that a cross sectional knowledge or
yes,
knowledge diversity.
yes, because when preparing a project management plan, it's not only schedule that you will be handling. You will be taking a lot of information from other people from other departments. So having been able to look at the data, having been able to look at those things that they are doing, give yourself at least a little bit of everything that you are learning from those information. I think that's one big source of knowledge. You don't have to take over their job. You just have to at least be able to understand what that report is, what that data is, and how are you going to translate into your own language.
Okay. So if I summarize it, the knowledge Mr. Hassan and Mr. Andrew said, definitely one thing is the Mr. Hassan, the first point you just said. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
First point you just said to. I just missed.
First one I said, yeah. First one I said this, you connect with any senior planner or any manager.
Touch
Yeah,
with a senior planner, and number two,
yeah.
he just
Because
said
it
that
will
there is a
side
site
expert.
experience you just collect, and if I merge it this side experience with Mr. Andrew, that Mr. Andrew also added this thing that not only side experience with also the other cross section of knowledge you need. So
Yeah,
it is not
Cert-
mandatory that.
certification, certification, certification is very important. If you
No,
like, sometimes you don't have any.
definitely certification is important. I just added that you said that side experience, and Mr. Andrew said with side experience, it is better that you have different dimension of knowledge. Suppose the QS and the QC, estimation and costing. It will also help you to enrich your knowledge. Number third is certification, and number four is Andrew. I also agree with you that investment on your skill. Uh, Definitely, it's too much important. So, as both of you tell these things to us, so I hope. Uh, as you are think that these points are important to our upcoming planning engineer, so now we have the liability to give them more guidance. So I have requested both of you that is it possible that inshallah, as it is today is June 1st, inshallah in next month we also also meet in Google Meet and discuss about some issues. Is it possible to give us time and give us time not for only for me, for the upcoming planning engineer? Is it possible, Mr. Hassan and Mr. Andrew, to give us your precious time?
Yeah. For me, it's okay. Every my thinking is time for me, not for everyone. I share everything for with others, and it will increase my knowledge.
Yes. And Mr. Andrew,
And
please complete.
the Andrew is from Philippines. My previous boss is also Philippines, and I got too many things from him. So, so nice to meet you, Andrew. Okay.
Nice to meet you too. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Sessions like this is what one part of my experience, because without the trainings, without this like little conferences that I had in the past, I should have I would not be here. I wouldn't have the confidence to even be able to go outside of my comfort zone,
Yes.
because I did not dream of going abroad to work, because I'm too, I'm having the comfort of my life in the Philippines, because it's my
Very
but
good place to living. We know.
yeah. So this is also a big I think big step for me to be able to learn more about uh, different standards, especially because in the Philippines it is solely American standard, and when I get here in Bangladesh and I get to meet the Japanese people, they talk more about British standards than American standards. So I'm learning a lot, actually. So, and a different software also. I got used to using Primavera 100% of my time, but now I'm now learning MS Project. So that's a good thing also. And
You are committed or promise us that you also give us time in next month and give us some more information or a specific skill to develop our new planning engineer.
yes, of course, it will be a pleasure for me also.
Then thanks to everyone especially Mr. Hassan brother and the Andrew and our participant who are almost more than 1 hours. They are hearing our and see our program. So definitely, thanks to all, and it's almost more than 2. So, Mr. Hassan, there is a sound from your side. Do you want to
No, no, no. I
something
just
else?
make thanks to you especially because you are participating, you are making this program every time. Thanks to you, and thanks to also Andrew. Salamat, bro.
Ah, salamat, salamat.
Bye.
It's a greeting.
Okay, bye. I have to leave.
Okay, then thanks all. And within tomorrow morning, we will share our this session on YouTube. And everyone, I will try to give the YouTube link to everybody. Thank you all.